Good morning, it's Thursday, March 3rd. My name's Tom Elliott and this is my market report. Well, share markets have been a bit weak this week so far, especially in Australia. There was a slight rise on Wall Street overnight. What everybody's concerned with is what's happening in Libya. Now, two big issues. Firstly, any unrest in the Middle East has a bad habit of pushing up oil prices. This time around is no exception. Oil went through $100 US a barrel for West Texas Intermediate last night. It's pushing up over $110 US a barrel in Singapore, and of course that's not good for petrol prices or inflation, especially in Australia. Secondly, there are calls by Libyan rebel groups for UN and possibly US intervention in the form of airstrikes in that country. And probably the last thing the world really needs now, much to the chagrin of those groups, is further American involvement in the Middle East in a military format. Still, we will see. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the price of gold is also hitting record highs. It's up around $1,430 an ounce. And that is an absolute record of all time, or at least since the US dollar was invented and we had a benchmark to measure gold against. In corporate news, it seems that media scions James Packer and Lachlan Murdoch have had something of a falling out. Now, both of them own around 9% of Channel 10. Both were on the board of Channel 10 until yesterday when James Packer suddenly resigned. It seems that Packer's poaching of a certain Mr. Warburton from Channel 7 to run Channel 10 after its former CEO was sacked just over a week ago did not sit well with Mr. Packer, who had a deal of sorts with Kerry Stokes not to poach each other's staff. Anyway, Packer appears to have done the right thing. No one's really sure what this means for Packer's shareholding in 10. Will he sell out or stay put? Watch this space. Also, another big family in Australian business is, of course, the Lowies. Frank Lowy founded Westfield over 50 years ago and it's been an enormous success story in Australian property management and retailing. At age 80 years, he's finally decided to step down as chairman, handing over the running of the company firmly to two of his three sons. Turning to pay TV, and shares in Austar rocketed up yesterday and are up again today. It appears that Telstra has given the green light to Foxtel to make a bid for Austar. Now, you might think that the ACCC would have something to say about this, but the thing is that Foxtel really operates in the urban areas of Australia, the big cities, and Austar is its regional, not really competitor, compatriot might be a better word. So actually there's very little sort of overlapping of the two companies' services. Now, we don't actually have a bid on the table yet, but it seems to me it would make a lot of sense for Foxtel to buy Austar at the right price. Some people are saying a bid of around $1.50 to $1.60 would be correct. Right now the stock is trading at $1.34, so perhaps the market having a bet each way. In other takeovers, shareholders in AXA finally approved the long-running bid by AMP to merge the two companies. The bid also received the approval from the Federal Treasurer, Wayne Swan. So that is it. Next Tuesday on the 8th of March, AXA shares will cease to trade as an independent entity, and over the next week, AXA shareholders will receive new AMP shares in return for their AXA shares. Of course, in the old days, it would have been unthinkable for AMP and the former National Mutual, which has now become AXA, to have merged, but that's what's happened. I think the government hopes that in some way these two merged life and insurance entities will be able to compete with the big four banks. AMP does have a banking licence, but I don't think it's really going to compete on banking services. The competition will occur in the superannuation market. Time will tell if the AMP has made a good move here. The A dollar is staying very strong. It's currently 101.5 US cents. That is, of course, because of the interest rate differential between the two countries and the fact that the US government has not yet abandoned its policy of printing US dollars as a prescription for all its economic ills. I've said before in this particular segment that I think by the end of 2011, the Australian dollar probably will have fallen against the US dollar. I see US interest rates are starting to rise sometime soon, whereas Australian interest rates seem on hold for the time being. So overall, an uncertain time in markets. We need stability in the Middle East to get back to stability in the stock market, but who knows what the Americans are thinking about doing.